Rabbi Friedman. Thank God it's Tuesday. Grateful every time this day comes around, this time comes around. And it gives us an opportunity to find out something insightful and amazing from you. So today's conversation, which I would like to raise, is we as a community, as a Russian-speaking community, come from an environment that has really, at least during the times of communism, told us to suppress our feelings, suppress our emotions, not to show too much, be cool, collected, calm. Then we come into this environment which tells us, smile, never show your negative emotion, only positive, only spread that kind of positivity. And, what we see right now in elections is that everybody is laughing off all kind of insults. No one is taking anything personally. No one is getting hurt. And in America, really, the most favorite pastime, most favorite entertainment are roasts, where you just insult each other and laugh it off. So my big question is, have we become completely disattached from our emotions, feelings, and became fake? And did our inner world become as fake as our outer world?
Fake?
Fake.
Fake. Oh, yeah. Maybe it's not so much fake as entitled. I'm entitled to express any feeling I want. This is a free country. It's a certain arrogance. It's a certain lack of consideration. Because the sages say, interestingly, don't laugh at a funeral and don't cry at a wedding. It's not considerate. When you come to a wedding and you happen to be in a bad mood, it's not your best day. So you're going to be honest and you're going to be grouchy because that's your feeling. The sages say that's not honesty. That's inconsiderate. You're at a wedding. Don't ruin it for everybody. And in the reverse, when you're at a funeral, God forbid, but you happen to be in a good mood. It's your best day. You have a lot of good news. Don't ruin it for everybody. In other words, don't feel so entitled even to your emotions. So, I don't know. Which is better, which is worse? Obviously, it's better to be free to express your emotions. It doesn't mean that you should. The government shouldn't prevent you from doing it, but wisdom should prevent you from doing it. And there's a shortage of wisdom. We're so drunk on the freedom that we forget that there are good reasons to discipline yourself. You don't need a government to do it.
My question is more, are we expressing what is really inside us? What the feelings that we have, are we expressing them? Or are we changing them before they have a chance to come out? That is the kind of...
Very good point. We don't give our feelings a chance to mature. As soon as we sense a little bit of emotion, it immediately comes out. In speech and action, we don't let the emotion mature. It's childish. Instead of having real emotions, we have tantrums. And we're a little too old for that. So this freedom to express a feeling anytime, anywhere, that means that you're not letting it mature. Before it has a chance to settle in and affect you deeply, you've already expressed it, you already dismissed it, it's already out of your control. So yeah, we're emotionally shallow. And what passes for emotion is really just tantrums.
You said we need to know how to let our emotions mature. How do we do that?
Well, firstly, consider whether you want to express it, whether you're ready to express it, whether this is the time and place to express it. You don't believe everything you feel. That results in a lack of impulse control. Not every feeling needs to be expressed, and it certainly doesn't need to be expressed immediately as soon as you sense some stirring of emotion. Absorb it. Let it affect you. You're feeling compassion, for example. Oh, that's so sad. And then it's gone. It's finished. That's all the compassion you're capable of. Don't say anything. Let it settle in. Do you even know what compassion really feels like? Real compassion? Mature compassion? We don't. We eat the fruit before it's ripe. Not healthy.
I think we need a lesson of how to learn how to do that. It's time, Rabbi Friedman. Counting on you.
I think so. I'm going to tell you this little incident. The previous Rebbe's father, okay, we'll call him the Rebbe, was reading this week's Torah portion. The words that it begins, the opening words are, and God spoke to Avram. And he said to him, leave your land, your birthplace, and your father's home, and come to the land that I will show you. When the Rebbe, 3 generations ago, read the words, God said to Avram, tears ran down his cheeks. Tears of pleasure. He felt such intense pleasure that the tears were the outlet for that intensity. So I was wondering, when I read that, what is so emotional, what is so sensational about the words God spoke to Avram? What he said was pretty amazing, touching, emotional. But the introductory words God spoke to Avram, what are you getting so excited about? To make a long story short, it occurred to me that this is the beginning of the Jewish people's history. This is the first time God spoke to Avraham, our first father. And from there, our identity, our relationship with God developed. So yes, it's an emotional moment in history when God spoke to Avram. Also, the fact that God spoke to Avram before Avram turned to God. In other words, this relationship was initiated by God, not by Avram. Avram was not even in the Holy Land at the time. He was in Ur of Chaldees, someplace in Mesopotamia. And God came to him, looking for him, calling to him, asking him to come to God's home. Leave your home, come with me to my home. Okay, that's pretty emotional stuff. But then the question occurred to me, Why was Avraham's reaction one of pleasure? Why not fear? If God calls to you, would your reaction be pleasure or fear?
I would be nervous.
Like a little incredulous? Who are you really? How do we know that Avraham's reaction was one of pleasure? From the Rebbe's reaction. When the Rebbe read those words, he was overcome with pleasure. Which means he was sharing the pleasure that Avraham felt when God introduced himself to him. So the whole event is not one of awe and fear, but one of pleasure. Avraham felt a great pleasure in God speaking to him, and when the Rebbe read those words, that pleasure came through. And so the Rebbe himself also felt that pleasure. Why did Avraham feel pleasure and not fear? Because of the way God spoke to him. Avraham was reacting to God. If God had spoken to him in a loud, angry voice, then yes, he would have felt fear. But God spoke to him out of pleasure, so Avraham responded with pleasure. And when the Rebbe reads Avraham's experience, he feels the pleasure. So I spoke about this to a group of women at a convention. And I said it was a triple layered pleasure. God had pleasure speaking to Avraham. Avraham reflected that pleasure. And the Rebbe, 4,000 years later, sensed that pleasure, and it brought him to tears. So I said, it's a 3-layered pleasure. And one of the women there raised her hand and said, 4. I said, what's 4? She says, when I heard you tell the story, I was moved with pleasure. So the rabbi, the Lubavitcher Shliach, who was sitting there, said, 5. I said, what's 5? Now that we know, we have to share it with others and get them to feel the pleasure as well. 5 layers. That's pretty nice.
A chain reaction there.
Yeah. Now, all of these experiences of our ancestors, they felt and experienced those emotions to the core of their being, not superficially, not for the moment. It entered their system so intensely that we actually inherit by birth. We inherit some of those feelings. They were so deep that they became part of the personality. So when we hear something beautiful in the Torah about somebody, a character of the Torah, we are moved with pleasure, not with cynicism, not even with fear, or we're moved with pleasure. It feels so good because it feels so familiar. It's an inherited experience. So if we let emotions really settle in, if we let emotions become part of who we are, then you can actually pass it on to your children.
Rabbi Friedman, for that we really have to be in touch. Really have to be, whole, complete, in touch, in tuned. I don't know how many adjectives to use here, but in today's world we see that people simply can't even express happiness. they look okay, and you say, "Are you okay? What is wrong?" "No, I'm fine. I'm happy." Well, where is that happiness? Can we see a little bit of it? So this is what I mean where people are disattached. I mean, you look around today, you can sense fear, you can sense, but people are in denial that they're going through, they are and they're not. But the bottom line is, when people cannot express their feelings, where is the problem there?
Well, it's not that they can't express it. They express too much. They're not really feeling it, because deep feelings are scary, even positive ones. That's why the statistics show that during holiday season, more people hurt themselves and others, because the expectation, you're supposed to be happy now. You're supposed to be rejoicing. Well, I can't, so I get frustrated. So anytime an emotion is expected, we get nervous. We're not good at it. Not good. People are expected to grieve. It's scary. It's too intense. We're not good at intense. We're good at superficial. A quick experience, in and out, done, move on. But a lasting, permanent emotion, any emotion, whether it's love or joy or grief, it's hard for us, because we're living in such a, what is the word? Disposable lifestyle. Everything is good for a moment, for a season, and then you throw it away. It's affecting even our emotions. We love to have a good time, but if it's more than an hour and a half, this is getting ridiculous.
But is it healthier to have intense emotions or suppressed emotions?
No, there's a difference between extreme emotion and deep emotion. Extreme emotion really is just nerves. It's not really emotion. It's nervous energy. That's not an emotion. Emotion means a feeling. A feeling means a reaction to someone or something. You react to a tragedy with grief. You react to a wedding with joy. You're responding. You're letting something affect you. I think that's the key word. An emotion means you're letting something affect you. We're afraid to let anything affect us. We're afraid. Maybe it'll affect us too deeply. Maybe it'll affect us too permanently. It'll move us. It'll change us. And we're resisting movement and change, because we don't know what to expect. Many people say, I would love to become a little more observant. I would love to believe in God and serve God, but I don't know. If I let myself, what's going to happen to me? What do you think is going to happen to you?
Your lifestyle is going to change?
Yeah, you're going to lose your personality. You're going to forget who you are. What's going to happen? So we identify ourselves by superficial characteristics. The emotional characteristics we don't trust. We're afraid to go there. So I am what I am. I do not keep the rituals. That's me. That's not you. That's just behavior. And in this case, it's what you don't do, which doesn't define you at all. Other people say, I wish I believed. I wish I had that kind of love and devotion, but I don't. As if Some people are born that way and some people are just not, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm just not the loving type.
What does that mean? I'm not the loving type.
Yeah. I don't get into relationships that deeply. I like to stay independent. No, you don't. Not with yourself. You're not objective and casual about yourself. You're insanely in love with yourself. All you need to do is share some of that. You have it, you're just not sharing it. So we have emotions. We're afraid of them. Some of them we hide. Some of them we simply dissipate. Like the flirt who flirts with everybody. Then he doesn't have to love anybody. He spreads the emotion thin, a little bit to everyone in town. And that's it. His emotion is gone. And of course, sexually, that's very true. A little sex here, a little sex there, and then you have no intimacy. You spread it too thin.
Rabbi Friedman, can people truly be afraid of being happy? It's such a positive and wonderful thing. Isn't that what we kind of thrive for?
You would think. You would think so. But when you live in fear and confusion, nothing real works. So what are we afraid of? What is the fear? What are Americans afraid of? You should know.
The truth.
You're an objective observer.
Yes.
What are Americans afraid of? What do we fear the most?
I don't know. I see a lot of fear towards the truth, towards God, towards which is the same thing, but the truth. I see that people are afraid of the truth.
You can't handle the truth. It's a very intriguing question because there's so little for us to be afraid of.
Should I have said change? I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe, can I change my answer?
The only thing I can come up with is the fear of the loss of freedom. Just don't take away my freedom. Okay. You have your freedom. What are you going to do? I don't know. What should I do? Well, I think you should become more observant. Don't tell me what to do. See, that's it. That's the whole American dilemma. Don't get in my way. Oh, I'm sorry. Where are you going? I don't know. I'm not going anywhere. Just don't get in my way. In your way of what? It's like freedom for the sake of freedom. And it's nonsensical. Let me be free. To do what? I don't know.
To be myself.
We have so much freedom, we don't know what to do with it. But really, that is the dilemma. If somebody gets in my way, it really upsets me. But I really wasn't going anywhere, so how can you even get in my way? I'm not going anywhere. So any perceived threat to my freedom makes me crazy. But what makes me more crazy is, in my freedom, I don't know what to do with it. I have no agenda. I have no devotion. I have no commitment. I do whatever I want. Well, what do you want to do? I don't know. So then they come and they say, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happening in my life. I said, okay, so I'll tell you. No, you can't tell me what to do. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking. If you can't decide, why don't you let me decide? No, I have to have my freedom. Okay, you have your freedom. What do you want to do? I don't know.
Well, your answer makes today's world extra scary because it seems that our freedoms are being threatened in different ways.
Either by a virus or by large companies.
I don't know. Virus seems to be the least scariest at the moment.
Yeah. But it's so easy to take away the freedom from people who are not using their freedom. People who have a very clear objective and are free to pursue it. You can't take their freedom away so easily. But when they don't have an objective, all they have is freedom, much easier to take it away. They don't have a firm grip on it. Maybe that's why people who believe in having guns, they will fight for that freedom. But people who are fighting for freedom of expression, express what? I don't know. Those freedoms can easily be denied because eventually people will say, okay, take it. I don't know what to do with it anyway. So freedom for the sake of freedom is very insecure. The freedom to, not freedom from. We have a guarantee of freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. Freedom from everything leaves you with nothing except the freedom itself, which is meaningless. But that's what's happened to America. We're in love with freedom. We just don't know what to do with it. I did it my way. What is your way? I don't know. But nobody can tell me what to do, including me, because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. That's scary.
Well, I never thought of it this way, that the Constitution says, yes, freedom of religion, not from religion. That's extremely powerful. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, because freedom from is not a lifestyle. So the Constitution guarantees freedom to live your life if you have a life. It's freedom from the interference of government in your life. But freedom is not a life. It's the potential. You can have any life you want because the government will not interfere. But now where do you get a life? I don't know if it's a very useful analogy, but when the people in the concentration camps were told that they were free to go, they panicked because they had no place to go. Their homes were destroyed, their communities were destroyed, their cities were destroyed. What do you mean free to go? Go where? It was really scary. So freedom without an objective, without a plan, is scary. It leaves you with nothing. And that makes people cling to their problems. At least if I have a problem, I know what I have to do. Take away my problem and leave me free, I don't know what to do with myself. So America has become intoxicated by its freedom.
So we're looking right now for someone to direct us. And where is that direction coming from?
It has to come from Mashiach. Because anything else is going to be a very short-lived plan, because then Mashiach is going to come and change everything.
Well, then we're fully ready. Fully ready, able, and willing.
Yeah.
When?
But the theme, whether it's before Mashiach or after Mashiach, the theme is we're here to serve. Not in our spare time. Serving is the purpose of our existence. We are here to serve. Unfortunately, that has become a luxury. When you have time and you have the money and you have the energy, then you'll serve somebody, you'll do something good. But it's not your life. Your life is yourself. And that has to change even before Mashiach. We are here to serve. Your freedom allows you to serve, not to indulge.
Rabbi Friedman, it seems that in order, basically on all our wonderful conversations, that in order for the world to work fine, well, we all have to be on the same page. And we're so not. And how likely is it for us to all be on the same page anytime soon?
So I think the process, the steps are, first, we're all equal in that we don't have a page. So it's not like we're on separate pages. None of us have a page. Because everything we believed, everything we trusted, everything we hoped for has failed. We don't have a page anymore. It wasn't so long ago when you could describe the pages. You get a room full of people, some of them are on the page of politics because they think that that's where the solution is. Some of them are on the page of science because they think that that's where the solution is. And some are on the page of religion because they think that that's where the solution is. And it goes on and on. So we had different pages and therefore a lot of conflict. But today, there should be less conflict because nobody has a page. We're all blank.
That's a happy thought.
Well, you can't really be bonded by absence, by blank. Yes, we're all equally blank, but that doesn't really bond us because it's just an absence. But at least it gives us equal potential. Since none of us have a page, there's the potential that we can all turn to the same page. That's the preparation for Mashiach. When all the pages go blank, so all the distinctions, separations, arguments, they're all gone. Pages are blank. Now, if somebody would come and give us a really good page, we'll all read the same page. So if Mashiach comes and gives us a good and healthy lifestyle, we'll all go for it because we have nothing else.
Rabbi Friedman, I would still like to go back to the feeling being attached and disattached to our feelings, we're in a place of limbo. In a place of limbo, you don't know how to feel, and you kind of dim yourself, numb yourself, but that's not a good way to be. It's not a good way to serve. And yet, life can show us very, very different, present different things to us, and obviously our emotions don't always catch up to everything, or they become suppressed. I'm still curious, can we believe people out there that say, yeah, I'm okay, I'm happy. Can we believe those people, or do we need to be concerned since we don't feel that happiness coming through?
There is room for concern. One of the concerns is, if you're not comfortable with deep feelings, then people who have deep feelings scare you and you hate them and you need to kill them. If somebody comes along and has a strong policy, a strong belief, it threatens everybody without belief. So, anybody with an opinion is a threat. Voice an opinion and people get nervous. They call it a microaggression. What is the aggression? Oh, you have an opinion. That's scary. The only opinion you should have is that all opinions are equally valid or equally invalid. That's it. That's the only opinion you're allowed to have. But if you have your own opinion, it scares everybody. People with an opinion have an advantage over people without. So the people without an opinion are terrified of being taken advantage of. Like if you have a religious opinion, everybody gets scared because, oh, now you're going to try to
convert me.
And you'll probably succeed because I don't know what to believe. I have no belief. So it's scary.
So intense emotions and intense opinions scare others?
Yes.
So extremely happy people scare people who are less happy?
No, they pity them.
Why?
Because if you're happy and you see somebody who's not, you pity him.
How does the other person feel?
Oh, the unhappy one. Yes, the unhappy person is frightened by happy people.
Do people lie to themselves about being happy?
They don't know what happiness means. If they're not in pain, they call it happy.
How can they be so disattached from that emotion?
Emotions come from thoughts. If your mind is empty, your heart is empty. Except for nerves. So what people call emotional today is really just nervous tension. A person who's very nervous is called emotional. They're not emotional, they're nervous.
So then
anxiety.
So in today's world, it's better to be more or less calm and without big...
Numb.
Numb? It's better to be numb right now.
Yeah.
Can you please elaborate on that?
If strong emotions are scary, then what's the alternative? Emotional numbness.
But isn't that sadness?
Isn't that sad?
We spoke a few programs ago that a person who does not feel is a person who is sad.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Sad but safe.
Uh-huh. So we can say that we're, because everything is so unsettled, it's better to be a little numb, and we are a little sad right now. We don't need to work extra hard right now to be happy, because this is not what it's called for.
Because we don't really know what to be happy about. So if my mind is not feeding me useful information, me being the heart, if the mind is not feeding the heart useful information, then the safest thing is just don't feel anything, because you don't know what to feel. So rather than risk having the wrong intense feelings, have none. It's like being in limbo. I'm waiting for a message from the mind to tell me what to feel. In the meantime, I'm just waiting.
That's what it feels like right now, to be honest. It feels like we're waiting. I don't know if this is the right thing to feel, if we should worry about not having too much emotion, suppressed emotions, some sadness here and there. I guess it's okay. I guess we don't have to get... This is the way to protect ourselves at this time.
Emotional safety. We need a safe place, a safe room. We need to be protected from a microaggression. We're feeling so emotionally vulnerable. And it begins in the head. When your mind is not telling you anything encouraging, then the heart panics. Like a child whose parents are offering no instruction or wisdom. The child panics.
I wonder how much longer we'll be in this stage of limbo, because it feels funny. Hopefully not too long.
Yeah. But that's why the attitude is so important. Attitude means, what is your brain saying? We have to have a healthy, optimistic, positive attitude, which means feel useful. So important.
I guess we don't have that much long to go.
People don't feel useful.
Rabbi Friedman, I hope this state of limbo will be over pretty soon, and we will all be useful, and therefore not be afraid of the emotions that come with it.
We don't really have to wait at all. If everybody would look around, you can be very useful in 5 minutes from now, because there are people who need you. You just haven't been paying attention. So for some people, this corona business made them feel even less useful. But for many people, their usefulness, which they always had, has now become even more pronounced, more urgent, more obvious, and they're thriving.
We need resolutions in our lives right now. We need to sort of get to the next level, to the next stage, to know. We need some revelations. Just seriously feels like we're waiting for some answers, some revelations, and the next stage, the next step. Rabbi Friedman, unfortunately, our time is up. It always goes by so fast, and
amazing.
Yeah.
We're just warming up.
Yeah, I know. There's so much more to discuss, and life is getting so deep and so complicated and so kind of hard to handle, I would say. We don't have a grip on things. Things are definitely not in our hands at this time.
I'm not sure that that's all negative. It's about time that we recognize that we don't have a grip. That humility is useful, productive, because it's true. Like people say, I think I'm losing control. No, you never had control. Finally, you're recognizing it and admitting it, but you never had control.
I think now everybody is on that page for sure. Control is not in our hands, and
right.
Rabbi Friedman,
like the person who says, "I think I'm losing my mind." You mean you thought you had one? You have to have something in order to lose it. So at least to admit that we never really had control. Life was never really about me. Finally, I'm recognizing it. That's a good thing.
I hope so.
A little painful, but good.
I hope so. I hope things are going to get a lot clearer very, very soon.
That's the year. That's what this year is all about. Things will become clear.
Waiting is not easy either. So, yeah. Rabbi Friedman, thank you so much. And thank you for helping us with this not such an easy period in our lives, make it a lot easier and clearer and a lot more optimistic. And of course, I honestly, for some reason, I feel like this week is going to show a lot of clarity. At least I'm very, very hopeful. So, Rabbi Friedman, it's nice to know that you're out there and we have your support and you have our back. And we're counting on this wonderful time to spend together next week. Well, I certainly do. Thank you so much. May this be a great week for everybody.
Next week will be a whole new world.
I'm into that. I hope so.
And, yeah. Be well.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Friedman.